Free, but that version never appealed to me because confrontation gives people a chance to argue. Consequences don't. For the rest of that week, something interesting happened. No one touched my laundry, not once. Same floor, same machines, same setup. Different outcome. You don't need an apology when behavior changes. People who steal in places like shared laundry rooms operate on one belief: no one will escalate. They count on social discomfort, on people valuing being nice over being respected. That's why this kind of theft keeps happening until it doesn't. No damage, no insults, no public humiliation, just a direct link between cause and effect. They stole time. They lost time. They stole convenience. They were trapped by inconvenience. Perfect symmetry. And the best part? They couldn't complain, because to explain the situation, they'd have to admit, I used someone else's cycle. Silence was their only option. Some people only learn when the system stops, protecting them, when politeness ends, when consequences finally catch up quietly and efficiently. Revenge isn't about hurting someone, it's about restoring balance. And sometimes, balance smells faintly like detergent and wet clothes left sitting too long. If you've ever been stolen from in a small, infuriating way, drop a comment and tell us what happened. Hit like if this felt satisfying. Subscribe if you believe petty theft deserves petty justice. And share this with anyone who thinks stealing laundry cycles is harmless, because now they know better. Same problem, locked, dead, uncooperative. This is where karma gets social, because now it's not just their problem. Other residents start showing up, trying to do laundry, finding machines out of commission, asking questions, rolling eyes, muttering complaints. The kind of low-level tension that spreads fast in apartment buildings. Somewhere along the line, someone mutters, "Did someone leave clothes in here?" And suddenly that sticky responsibility lands squarely where it belongs. Wouldn't let someone's clothes out a few hours later. Once my clothes were safely folded and put away, curiosity got the better of me. I took a walk down to the second-floor laundry room. The scene looked normal, too normal, except for the small sign taped to the wall. Handwritten, sloppy, passive-aggressive, out of order, washer issue. Wouldn't let someone's clothes out. I stood there for a second, pretending to read it for the first time. Inside, something warm bloomed, not cruelty, not gloating, just quiet satisfaction, because the building hadn't blamed me. The machines hadn't blamed the system. The problem had been framed exactly how it should have been. Someone's clothes were stuck. No confrontation required. No shouting match. No threats taped to doors, just a clean, contained consequence. Their attempt to steal convenience had backfired spectacularly. They didn't just lose time, they lost control. They lost clean clothes. And they probably paid more money fixing the problem than they would have spent doing laundry properly. Meanwhile, my clothes were clean, dry, smelling like detergent instead of resentment. I took them back upstairs, shut my door, and that was it. No follow-up, no drama, just closure. Because the best revenge is walking away knowing you won't be stolen from again. There's a version of this story where I confront them, where I wait in the laundry room, arms crossed, heart pounding, demanding an explanation from whoever thought my time and money were. Not words I could make out, but I smiled anyway, because revenge doesn't always need witnesses. Sometimes it just needs time. Revenge doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it just sits there, steeping, waiting for the right person to walk straight into it. I finished my laundry on the other floor without incident. No interruptions, no suspicious footsteps, no awkward hallway standoffs, just the low, comforting rumble of a washer doing exactly what it was paid to do. But the entire time, part of my brain kept drifting back to those machines. 3 locked washers, full of someone else's clothes. Cold, wet, and increasingly inconvenient. People who steal laundry cycles aren't desperate. They're not broke. They're not helpless. They're opportunists. They see someone else paying and think, why not me? They assume the world will bend, that other people will absorb the inconvenience quietly. What they don't account for is friction. Sometime in the first hour, I imagined it happening. Someone walks into the laundry room, phone already out, half paying attention. They notice the silence. No spinning, no water. They frown, check the app. Cycle in progress. They tug the washer door. Nothing, a harder pull, still nothing. Confusion turns to irritation. Maybe they assume it's temporary. Maybe they leave. Maybe they come back later, annoyed but unconcerned. After all, they didn't do anything wrong, right? Wet clothes don't age gracefully. By now, the smell is setting in. That sour, heavy scent that no amount of dryer time can fully erase. Frustration deepens. Now they're jiggling handles, pressing buttons, restarting the app, wondering why their laundry luck is so bad today. And that's the delicious part. Because today isn't bad luck, it's accountability. This is where denial dies. Because by now, someone has probably said it out loud. What the hell is wrong with these machines? Maybe they try another washer. Also broken. Then the third. Same story, 3 machines. Just enough to be annoying. Enough to remind someone that every action has consequences. I opened the washer doors just briefly one by one. Dropped a bit of lint into each stolen load. Closed them again. No drama, no mess, just a quiet addition to their problem. I waited, staring at the countdown, watching the seconds bleed away. The machines finished washing and shifted into rinse mode. That meant one crucial thing: the doors locked again. That was my window. I moved fast, reached behind the first washer, crawled my arm deeper than I wanted to, and pulled the plug. The hum died instantly. Then the second. Then the third. Silence. No buzz, no spin, no error chime. Just 3 fully locked washers mid-rinse filled with soggy, lint-infested laundry. And no power. I didn't stand there admiring it. That's how you get caught. Instead, I wiped my hands on my jeans, stood up, and took one last look. To anyone who walked in later, it would just look like malfunctioning machines. Old equipment. Bad timing. No fingerprints, no witnesses, no confrontation. I grabbed my basket and left. As I rode the elevator up, my heart finally slowed. Not guilt. Relief. Because for the first time since this whole thing started, I wasn't powerless. Somewhere in the building, someone was going to come down expecting clean clothes and find themselves stuck. They'd try the app. Nothing. They'd tug on the door, locked. They'd wait. Maybe curse. Maybe storm off. Eventually, someone would realize the washer was unplugged. But here's the thing: those plugs were tucked way back. Someone would have to kneel, reach deep, actually work to fix it. And people who steal laundry cycles aren't known for effort. Meanwhile, I went to a different floor, loaded my clothes again, paid again because I wasn't about to risk another theft. Hit start, and sat down nearby, just listening, waiting. That's when the first muffled sound drifted through the hallway. A door slamming, a frustrated voice, Bluetooth modules bolted on as an afterthought, running off the same power supply. And suddenly an idea clicked into place. Not rage, not chaos, just calm, focused. The kind of calm that only arrives when you finally stop being a victim. I paid for these cycles, which meant one thing: I had control. Once the anger settled, something else took its place. Control. That's the moment most people misunderstand about revenge. It's not loud. It's not explosive. The best revenge is quiet, methodical, and happens while your opponent still thinks they're winning. I checked the app again. All 3 washers were still in wash mode. The doors were locked. The timers were ticking down evenly, like a synchronized insult. I didn't know whose clothes they were. Didn't matter. Whoever they weren't careless. They were confident. These weren't modern smart washers built from the ground up. They were relics, heavy metal frames, mechanical guts. Real switches you could hear click and thud when changing states. A cheap add-on, installed later, powered by the same electrical source, designed to lock and unlock the door electronically, but only while powered. Which meant one thing: the lock wasn't smart. It was dependent. I knelt down and peeked behind the machines. The plugs were buried deep, hard to reach without effort. And suddenly, I saw the whole picture. If I timed this wrong, nothing would happen. If I timed it right, someone was about to have a very bad afternoon. I pulled out my phone, opened the app, and paused my own laundry. Because as far as the system was concerned, these cycles were legally mine. Then I opened the dryer where my clothes had been dumped. That's when something small but poetic caught my eye. Lint, lots of it, gray, matted, static clung. The exact lint my clothes had been dragged through, a perfect byproduct of their disrespect. I pinched a small amount between my fingers, not enough to destroy anything, not enough to cause damage. That's when the thought first crept in: oh, someone is stealing. Not borrowing, not mistaken, stealing. I checked the app. Sure enough, I had paid for the wash. I had initiated the cycle. And I had been removed like my time, money, and effort meant nothing. I stood there staring at the machine, jaw tight, heart rate climbing, that familiar. Pressure rising behind the eyes. But still, I backed down, because confrontation in shared spaces is messy, because maybe it was a coincidence, because maybe they wouldn't do it again. Today, same routine. I load my washer. pay for the cycle, hit start, set a timer. And for once, something told me to come back 5 minutes early. Call it instinct. Call it paranoia. Call it the universe whispering, you're about to be disrespected again. When I opened the laundry room door, my brain needed a second to process what I was seeing, because it was worse. Much worse. My clothes weren't just moved. They had been emptied, dragged through the lint-covered dryer door, and tossed still soapy into a dryer that wasn't even running my cycle. Someone else's laundry was already spinning peacefully in the washer. And not just one load. 3 washers, all of them. All 3 of my paid cycles stolen. My detergent, my water, my time. I stood there in stunned silence, listening to the slosh of someone else's jeans being cleaned on my dime. That's when anger finally stopped knocking and kicked the door down. My chest got tight. My hands clenched. My thoughts went fast and sharp. They didn't even bother hiding it. They didn't care if I noticed. They assumed I wouldn't do anything. That's the thing about people who steal in shared spaces. They don't expect retaliation. They rely on politeness, on exhaustion, on the idea that no one wants the hassle. I checked the app. 25 minutes left before the washers would switch to rinse. 25 minutes to either swallow it again or teach a lesson. I looked at the machines. Old school hardware, physical locks. I walked into the laundry room 5 minutes early and found my clothes soaking wet. Stuffed into a dryer I never paid for while a stranger's laundry was calmly stealing 3 full wash cycles on my dime. I didn't yell. I didn't confront anyone. I had 25 minutes to respond, and I chose revenge. If you've ever been disrespected, underestimated, or quietly robbed and told yourself, it's not worth the fight, hit subscribe right now. Like this video, drop a comment, and buckle up because this story isn't about violence, it's about precision justice. Let's get into it. There are certain places where unspoken rules exist. Libraries, elevators, and shared apartment laundry rooms. You don't touch what isn't yours. You don't jump the line. And you never, under any circumstances, steal another person's cycle. That's not just rude. That's war. I live in a mid-sized apartment building, nothing fancy, nothing sketchy. The kind of place where neighbors nod at each other but don't exchange names. Where everyone pretends we're not listening through the walls. Each floor has its own laundry room. Old machines, metal doors, analog buttons that clunk when pressed. Except someone had gotten the bright idea to retrofit them with Bluetooth locks and a mobile app. Progress, right? Except technology doesn't fix assholes. It just gives them new tools. The first time my laundry was messed with, I tried to be charitable. I figured maybe someone misread the timer. Maybe they thought it was abandoned. Maybe it was an honest mistake. My clothes were a bit damp. The wash felt shorter than usual. Annoying, but not enough to start a war over socks. So I let it go. That was my mistake. A week later, I come back downstairs right as my timer ends, except the washer door is already open. My clothes are inside the dryer. Not running, just shoved in their soapy, twisted, half-wet, and the washer, occupied, different clothes, different detergent smell. Someone else's cycle was halfway through.
If you like stories where people finally get what they deserve, click the playlist on screen and binge the rest.